Hi, everybody. It's Rhonda with the Stitch and Time Embroidery Designs, and today we're going to talk about cute mugs that I find from all over the place. Some of our mug rugs. Yes, we have quite a few fun mug rugs. I actually designed this one last week to kind of go with this cute little mug that I found at the Dollar General store the other day. So we're going to stitch this little guy out. It's really cute. And then we're going to talk about how to make a family orientated gift like that cute hot cocoa station that you see back there. If you want to give a gift to a family instead of individuals in the family, that's always a fun one. Everybody appreciates things like that, good, tasty things to eat or drink. And I'm going to show you everything that I have in it at the end after we get this guy stitched up. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so let's iron our top pieces. I have it all cut out, and in the instructions, you'll get all the measurements for these pieces. These are the three pieces that go on top. We want to take that little brown piece and we want to put something on the back of it. So I'm using Madeira Applique Magic here. It has a fusible side and it has a sticky side, which is why I love using it. So I'm just going to fuse it to the back side of my applique fabric. And then when I'm ready to use it, there's a paper on the back of it where it's sticky. So you just peel off that paper and just stick it where you need to put it and then just go with the flow. All right, so I'm starching and ironing the back pieces here. I think they're 7 by 9, but that's all in your instructions. So the back pieces are an envelope style. So we're going to turn them to where the wrong sides are together. And we're ironing them. We're going to use those folded edges right in the middle. And we'll get to all that soon when we get to the end of this. So starch it, iron it, fold it in half, and press it. I wish I could iron that fast. I sped up this video so we could get through it quicker. Okay, so now we have all our pieces. That's how the back's going to be. We have our batting, our front pieces, and our back pieces, and we're ready to get started. So here we are at the machine. I've hooped a medium weight cutaway stabilizer. The first step is just going to stitch a placement line for the batting. So use a thread color here that you can see on the stabilizer. Obviously, white would be hard to see. You're not going to see this anyway. That line is going to end up on the inside of the mug rug. I like to use thread that I can see when I'm recording, but even when I'm not recording something, I tend to use colors that I can see really well if it's not going to show. Okay, so we're going to grab our batting, and the measurements are cut just slightly below 5 by 7, so it fits right inside of that placement line on the stabilizer. And now we're going to stitch step 2, which is a placement line for the top pieces of fabric. So it's just going to go right across, and we're going to grab the bigger side of the fabric fronts. I think I used the red polka dot for that. And we'll just place the 7-inch edge right up against that line that just stitched out. And our fabric is nice and starched, so it's going to lay flat and look just great when it's done. And then we're going to take that smaller piece, the other side, we're going to turn it wrong side up or right side down. And we're going to put it right along that stitching line also. And you can put some tape there if you want to make sure it doesn't move out of place. But usually if you've starched your fabrics, they're so flat and stiff that they stay in place pretty good. So that's step 3. We're going to stitch that down. And you can take your hoop off of the machine and bring it to your pressing area and just give it a quick press with a small iron that fits in the hoop. But just for the sake of doing it a little faster on a video, I'm just going to take this little roller tool that I have and press it down with that. I just keep it in the top drawer right where the machine is that I'm using here. I'm in a rush, I just use that instead of ironing it. It works pretty well. Okay, so step 4 is going to tack down the two top pieces. It's just going to stitch another rectangle, basically right on top of the first rectangle that's stitched out onto your stabilizer. So I am stitching it out in a color that I can see pretty well, but you don't have to. You're going to be able to, I mean, I have two wildly different color fabrics there, so that would be hard to do to get one that I could see really well on both of them. Okay, so that's going to just hold everything in place. Now, since I have two wildly different color fabrics here, I am going to use sulky invisible thread for the quilting stitches. It works pretty well in my embroidery machine. I've actually never had any trouble with it in the embroidery machine, and I use it when I'm using a really patterned fabric that I don't want the quilting thread to show up on. I just kind of want it to blend into the background. So I keep a couple spools of that sulky invisible thread there. Works great. I haven't had any issues with it, except it's hard to see when you're threading the machine. Thank goodness for automatic threaders, right? See, you can't even see where it is. Just making sure that it's there. Okay, so, and the quilting that I created for this, I just made some little squiggly lines, just like the icing on the little gingerbread man's hands and feet, how it's just a squiggle of icing. I just used the same shape for the quilting background. So it stitches out pretty quickly. I did speed it up here again too. I like to actually stitch everything at 600 stitches per minute. I don't think I've ever run any of my machines, even my commercial machine, at full speed. All right, so our quilting stitches are done, and now we're going to stitch the placement line for the applique fabric. That's step 6. Here you definitely want to use a thread color that you can see. So I'm just going to use white. I probably should have chosen something other than polka dots. For whatever reason, that's kind of hard to see when you have stitching on top of it, but we're zoomed in enough to where we should be able to see it on camera. Yes, we can. All right. So it's just going to give you the outline of the little gingerbread man here. And now we're going to grab that brown piece of fabric that I put the Madeira Applique Magic on the back of. And we are going to pull off the paper from the background of it, from the back side of it. Sometimes I just bend the corner to make it a little bit easier to get apart. And when you pull off that paper, it leaves a sticky side, which is nice because you can just stick it down. You don't have to iron it down right now. You can wait until we're done to do that, but it just sticks right down. No need to tape it in place or anything. And then step 7 is going to stitch the tack down line for our little gingerbread man. Now the next step is, of course, trimming the excess fabric from the outside edges. Normally, I would take my hoop off the machine and put it on my cutting table where I have a little turntable that I use because I can spin it as I'm trimming that fabric away. I just left it here on the machine bed, and it is a little bit of a struggle because your hands are like stuck underneath the machine a little bit to try to cut it away. It's easier if you take it off the machine and do this on your cutting table. If you don't have one of those little turntable cutting mats, I suggest you get one. I'm not really a quilter. Well, I'm not a quilter at all, honestly. I would love to be one day. But I do still use that for when I'm using these in the hoop projects, things like that. Works great. Lots of uses for one of those. Actually, I have two of them. I have a round one, and the last expo I went to, I bought a rectangle one that has, it fits cutting mats on it. It has a little wool mat on it, and it's made out of like a countertop thickness, so it's really nice. Okay, so all that's left to do on this mug rug is stitch out the edges, which I'm going to use a matching thread to stitch out the satin edges on that applique. And we're going to stitch that first because there's nothing underneath the edges on this particular pattern. And yes, we sped that up a lot. So it's just going to cover all the edges for you. And if you clipped it nice and close, which I forgot to mention, I was using a pair of 5-inch double curved, I think that's what it's called, 5-inch double curved scissors from Kai, Kai, and they're the double curved blunt tip scissors, so they don't get stuck in the fabric or anything, and they're actually great for applique. I have several pairs in here because I use them all the time. But they're so tiny, they're easy to use in the hoop, and that double curve makes it really easy to use while you're clipping applique fabric like that in the hoop. So if you don't have a pair, I suggest you get a pair. Okay, so the next thing that's going to stitch, step 9, is the black part of the eyes, the background of the eyes, and the mouth. And then we're going to stitch the bow tie, which I chose red for the little tie. I bet that would look cute in a variegated thread too. I might have to try that. I have so many variegated threads that I forget I have sometimes. And then the next step, step 11, is going to stitch the 2 little buttons. And then the last part on the little gingerbread man, step 12, is going to stitch out the icing. Oh, and the dots in the eyes. Forgot about that. I really love gingerbread men. I have several mug rugs with gingerbread men. I just did an applique that you could do on a sweatshirt, on the side of the sweatshirt with a gingerbread man. I just made his legs longer so you could cut out that section on your sweatshirt. And then the last part, of course, is putting on the back. Now, in the instructions, I show a different way of doing this, but you can do it either way. Basically, that folded edge goes towards the center of the hoop, and it needs to overlap about a 1/2 inch or so. Sorry, if you can hear that little bird screaming, it's because we have 2 parrots in here. All right, so I'm just going to make sure it overlaps like a 1/2 inch or so, and that it's centered over the design. Let me see, I think it was step 4 where it's stitched down the top fabrics. As long as your back parts cover that rectangle stitch that's stitched in step 4, you're good. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a little bit of tape over both sides where the foot is going to go all the way around the edge here to stitch it closed. Want to make sure it doesn't get caught on one of the top layer of those 2 folded pieces because they're a little high up there. And I'm using 3M Transform medical tape. It's perforated and it tears really easily and it doesn't gum up the needle or anything. So I just put it on both edges and that way the foot can just kind of glide over it and it's just fine. I'm going around twice to make sure that our final stitching is nice and strong and secure. And that's all of the stitching that we have for this little mug rug. So we're going to take it off of the hoop. And we're going to the cutting table. We're going to pop that out. We're done with that. And we're going to turn it to the back side and we're going to trim away the excess stabilizer. It's going to reduce the bulk in the edges of it. So watch when you're cutting it because you have two different fabrics. So you have that seam kind of on one side. And you want to really be careful that you don't accidentally cut away the excess fabric for that second layer of fabric right there when you're going around. So be careful that you don't cut anything you're not supposed to. And then we're going to go to the other side and we're going to trim all the way around the final stitching. I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little more, all around the edge. Right here. And you can do that with a ruler and a rotary cutter if you want it really, really straight. But this is going on the inside. We don't have to be perfect here. No one's going to see it. Remove that tape. And it does come off pretty easily. And then we're going to trim the corners on a diagonal there. We don't want to get too close to the corner because we don't want to cut through that stitching. But if you just trim it away on a diagonal like that, it's going to have less bulk in your corner when you flip it right side out. And then we're going to turn it right side out. And we're going to use a turning tool. Right here I'm using an RNK turning tool, but I also have one from Clover too that works really well. You can use a simple bamboo skewer. Just be careful whatever you use and you don't poke through the stitching. That little RNK turning tool has like a round ball on the edge, so it's less likely to poke through anything. And then we just, we're going to work with the edges a little bit. Make sure they're nice and flat, and we're going to press it. So we're going to turn on our iron. And while the iron is heating up, I'm going to just mess with the edges a little bit. Kind of roll them out with my hands a little bit. Make sure they're all the way out. Because you have, the batting and the stabilizer and the fabric, of course. And then I'm just going to give it a quick press. Make sure it's all nice and flat. And we are almost done. Isn't it cute? I really love that gingerbread fabric. I don't remember where I got it from. I shop at Hobby Lobby for fabrics, sewing stores like All Brands and Precision Sewing. Joann's kind of moved far away from me, so I haven't been there in a while. I used to shop there too. Now I have some fusible tape here that I'm just going to tear and slip right inside where those fabrics overlap. And that's how we're going to close up the back. Just pop it in there and iron it shut. It's quick and easy. And we're kind of done with our little mug rug here as soon as you're finished ironing it. And these really make good gifts. So I'm going to show you guys how I put together, with this mug and this mug rug, I put together a hot cocoa station for gift giving. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do with our cute little gingerbread mug rug here. We're going to include the gingerbread mug that I showed you earlier that we found at Dollar General stores. And a few other things that I found at various stores. This makes a great family gift. You can include, one mug for each person in the family, whether that's 1, 2, 3, 4, however. They don't have to match. They can just be cute, fun mugs for each person. I like giving family gifts like this, something especially that's edible that everyone can enjoy. This hot cocoa box came from Amazon. I'll put the link underneath the video. I have, of course, our mug rugs. You can make several of these and you can make different ones. I'll show you some different ones in a minute. These are felties that are also on our website. We have the gingerbread house over there, the gingerbread girl over here. You can tie ribbons to them and they can become ornaments, or they can go along with our home sign project. That's a lot of fun too if you're in our Facebook group. That's pretty easy to find. I found these peppermint spoons this morning at our local grocery store. Aren't they cute to stir your hot cocoa with? I found this also at the Dollar General store. It happens to be walking distance from my house, so I run in and out of there a lot. But this is hot cocoa and marshmallows wrapped in a little reindeer paper there. I found this there this morning also, a hot chocolate bomb, so that might be fun. I have a pack of gourmet hot cocoa in here. Of course, Land O'Lakes makes different flavors of hot cocoa, so you can throw that in there. This is just a jar of mini marshmallows. This is a jar of candy canes and chocolates. So just throw whatever you feel like putting in one of these little boxes. You don't even have to have this box. You can get like an inexpensive basket or something to put it in to make a hot cocoa bar like this. But it makes a nice gift, and one that almost everybody's going to appreciate. And I am a mug collector, so I'm always collecting different mugs, and of course we have lots of different mug rugs. I found this snowman mug that pairs great with our Let It Snow snowman mug rug. You can include things like that. I have other gingerbread mug rugs also. If you don't want to make this one, there are other options that you can make also. I have a gingerbread house mug rug that matches that over there, so you can do lots of things. This adorable Santa mug, I honestly don't remember where this came from. But I'm in and out of Hobby Lobby a good bit. They always have fun mugs. Believe it or not, so does Dollar General. They always have cute fun mugs for whatever season it is. You can find them there. I'm pretty sure I found this on Amazon. It doesn't say on the bottom, but that's probably where I found it. I'm always kind of on the lookout for cute and fun things like that. So there we go. You can make a cute little hot chocolate station, hot cocoa station, using our mug rugs and some fun treats. All right, we're all done, and I hope you guys got some ideas for different things that you might want to stitch up for Christmas this year for a few of your family members or friends, or just someone that you want to make their holiday a little bit brighter and cheerier. Hot cocoa bar is one of my favorite things. It's a fun thing. Like I said, you can use baskets or, just anything that you find to put a few things in with a mug and some hot cocoa packets or whatever. So we'll try to keep on doing some gift giving ideas for the next few weeks. So hope to see you at another video of ours soon. Don't forget to click the subscribe button so that you get notifications when something like this is going up, and hope to see you soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.